Alright guys, here goes prototype number one of who knows how many at a jig for getting this glass dial mechanism and everything somehow temporarily aligned to the chassis, so I can take it all out and fit the dial cord. So the idea is there's a hole at the back of this tuning condenser. I've got a removable bolt here with an anchor nut just fitted, and then the angle on the front is registered with the angle of the glass dials, so hopefully that'll be okay. And then what I will do is down the front edge here there will be another strip of metal which will have a hook at the end of it, which will go underneath this brass rod here. As you can see, I had to make a cutout on the front of it so that the so that the cursor mounting mechanism can travel back and forth. So this is attempt number one, and then for the horizontal registration at the moment I've just put some pencil lines. And then I'll probably just use some sticky tape or something to hold it. But, you know, when it's done, one of the things I was conscious of is it's not in the center. And so it would tend to tip to one side. However, because of how it's fixed at the back here, it can't tip. So, hopefully we'll be okay. I'm probably going to have to do something as well between the top here, going just over the top. But I think what I'll do is, once I having got the basic registration distances correct here, I'll take it out, and the rest of it I'll do once it's outside. Getting it all back in again though, whew, ain't that gonna be fun. Right, so here's what a couple of iterations later on the whole setup looks like. My original plan to grab the dial top and bottom, I had to give up on that, because if I grabbed the little brass bar here as I originally intended, then the dial pointer wouldn't be able to go by, and so I wouldn't know if I'd wired it up correctly or not. Similarly, I then thought, well, I won't grab the brass rod, I'll just grasp the actual base of the thing itself. But then the actual pointer mechanism needs to go back and forth, and so that would foul up there. So, had to be held on the sides, and what I found was there was two holes, one each side, for mounting the dial bulb. So there's a bracket that the dial bulb fits to, and I guess they're staggered on each side to more equally distribute the light. So I made a little cross piece to go across, and then fixed it to the wooden piece against the registration marks that I'd drawn on the back when it was in the set, and hope it's accurate enough. So it does all hold together, so I'm relying on the weight of it to hold it down at the front. And this little thing at the back will stop it from rocking. So yeah. And in fact, while I'm running the dial cord, because that I expect is going to be fun and games on its own, I might fix this somehow to the tuning condenser, just to stop it jumping around. Right, let's fit it into the set and see, does the theory hold up in practice. Okay, well, my registration was off a little bit, but not too much, and there isn't too much play here. And the wheels seem to line up reasonably well with the black pulleys here. Good enough to give it a go, I think. And so I won't bore you with how many failed attempts I have at this, when I do eventually manage to get that cable on, I'll come back. Well guys, so far so good. After a significant number of attempts and a fair number of expletives and retries, I think I got it. Of course, you may remember back when I first took this off, I realized that I'd made a note of where the dial pointer was and where the little lug here was, but I didn't notice where the vanes were on the condenser. And when the full travel of the condenser, this lug comes around twice, so I had a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and well, I didn't. I got it wrong. So the first time I wired it all up and was really delighted with myself, I found that the pointer would come to about here, and then the condenser had reached full travel, and then it would try and bang into the other end. So I had to undo it all again and rotate this through 360 and do it again. I found I was quite lucky because I realized I could take off this front bearing plate and this drum was still held on, and so it meant for wrapping the wire around the drum I wasn't forced to keep feeding it, picking it up and carrying it around and so on. So yes, whether I can get it back into the set without the whole thing going ba-doing, I really don't know, but at least I now have plenty of experience of how this dial cord actually strings, or how it routes around the pulleys and stuff. And so the other thing that got me is there's a little bracket here with a hole in it, and the wire has to come through the hole. And I didn't quite see that, so when I first did it I brought it on the outside of this bracket, and of course the wire wouldn't track in the pulley properly and it was rubbing here, so that was another take it off and do it again moment. Yeah, okay, so next I think will be to put it back in the chassis, but I really ought to do the cab first and get the cab done. So I think I'm just going to delicately put this out of the way while I finish off the cab, and then I'll put this in.